Reaganism.
No, the whole thing is a mess. I don't see any way to fix it, honestly. I really don't. It's a question of like you said, just burn it down. Start over.
Well, in the case
Salt
of
the earth.
In the case of Ebola, cremating anything that's had anything to do with someone who's caught it is the first thing, including at some point the families of the folks in Liberia, because they're all going to get it. Do you burn them first, or do you burn them afterwards? No, that's too cool.
Well, you were going to
That's
tell
harsh.
us. You were going to tell us your little body washing story.
I was. So yes. So
New Ebola body wash.
yeah, in Liberia, a good percentage
At
of
retailers near you.
Whether you want it or not.
a good percentage of the population.
Aerosol, solid,
liquid. Breaking news.
pelletized, foaming body wash.
Weaponized is probably a better word.
Weaponized.
Foaming body wash. That's just
Susan,
nasty.
Susan, you're on fire, and Skip is absolutely breaking down over there. In Liberia, a goodly percentage of the population are Muslims. It is the Muslim custom at death, far from cremating the body, but to take it home, and the family participates in the ritual of washing the body from head to toe. After, wait for it, they have pressed down upon it to ensure that all bodily fluids are squeezed out. You can't make this stuff up. And then they wash it with a bowl of whatever kind of
Ebola.
of local detergent.
Ebola.
In which they all dip
The
their
Ebola Bowl. That could be a new football
in which they
thing.
all dip their hands, just guaranteeing that all of them are going to get
Mike's being very patient with us.
what the deceased had. And attempts to clean up after deaths from the disease, attempts to take the bodies and burn them, have been angrily challenged by the families, who have in many cases snatched the body bags, cut it open, taken the body home, and shared in the ritual of trying to catch the disease.
I think they should be allowed to take the body home and keep it.
Right. In which case, essentially,
We're going to have
It's sort of
so
like
much
birth
hate.
control for liberals. I think they should have it.
yeah.
We're going to get so much hate mail after
I
this
don't
segment.
care. Get at the back of the line.
The way to contain this, frankly, is to circumscribe the Muslim areas of
Circumscribe.
Monrovia.
They don't do that either, do they?
Circumscribe.
I'm talking about that other hateful crime.
No, it's not the word you're thinking of.
I know what word she was thinking of.
Yeah, I know you were thinking of. I'm talking about the other hateful crime of redlining an area.
Uh-oh. You mean like
Circumscribe as in draw, not circumcise
Size.
as in cut.
We can say that word. Circumcise is not a dirty word.
Okay, but here's this. Obama did not circumscribe. He's drawing a straight line. With the Ebola crisis raging, Obama administration started streamlining visas from West Africa, as reported by Town Hall from Breitbart, fast-tracking visas from the West African nations to come here. This is what the Obama administration has already done.
So in other words, let's accelerate the epidemic so we can declare a national state of emergency. It's beginning to look more and more like a conspiracy against the American people.
A new
I
report
think he's
published.
using these people as guinea pigs. I think he's bringing all these poor people over here and using them as lab rats.
I mean, folks, we don't make this stuff up. We comment of what we see from reasonable sites and sometimes unreasonable ones, and we make fun of them. You know, the Onion makes quite a good chunk of coin just from being satirical. But these are reasonable folks. Yeah. We know that they present the news. But you just can't make this up. A new report published at Breitbart shows the Obama administration started expediting visas from West Africa in August, as the Ebola was and still is raging out of control with a 70% mortality rate.
Yay,
According to the report, the man who died from Ebola in a Texas hospital after visiting Liberia has had his visa approved in the same month visas were being streamlined. In short, the USCIS has been waiving fees expediting these people to come.
Lab rats. Cannon fodder.
I give up.
I think they're
Soylent Green.
They're
Soylent something.
they're biological weapons.
They are.
They are. They're gonna come
Hey,
here.
Stevie.
Susan.
Hi.
Good morning, Steve. Skip.
We're gonna Jane's gonna get here and we're gonna have to bump her. We're going to bump
Nope,
everybody.
I'm happy to give up my chair.
I know, but we're going to. It's going to be hard to fit people.
Annie
in.
was sitting there. Annie Custer.
Yeah, it was empty. You kicked her out.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we've been talking about a lot of crazy stuff. We have like 10 minutes left in the
Mike's
segment.
top of the hate crime list this morning.
Yes, Mike's trying to get the Muslims to come to his house. He really is. So anyway, Steve, glad you could
I can use some 20th century weaponry on their 7th century selves.
He's still working it. Work it, baby, work it. Please direct all your mail to mike@granitegrok.com.
Which I don't read, by the way. I'm not publishing it.
You don't read your mail.
That's
you
the
read
point.
Granite Grok.
It doesn't redirect, so I don't get it.
He doesn't get it. Oh, now Skip's giving him a look. What do you mean? I set this email account up for you. Can I turn your... All right, we're going to talk to Steve because he's here, and he got stuck in the same traffic we did. They're doing some paving, ladies and gentlemen, if you're heading north on 93.
Yeah, strange. Why on a Saturday, right in the middle of leaf peeping season, would you want to be...
Yeah, they have restricted. They have restricted 93 at the bottom end of Concord to one lane, where you have to get off where everybody going in leaf peeping direction, that is 89 towards Dartmouth, is going to go. So
I don't know if there's much to peep. Did you look at the trees driving up here? They're all brown.
They're still kind of pretty up in my
they're
part of the world.
kind of pretty where I am too.
Still,
we're a little further south.
Is it Clement, the head of the Department of Transportation? You think? I mean, given his interest in seeing the state become our number one industry, become tourism, rather
now
than
that he's got that gas
manufacturing,
tax, he doesn't need to treat
I'll
people anymore.
I'll bet you they're all kicking themselves that they didn't raise it, by a bigger amount, given the drop in gasoline
Well,
prices.
the problem is the state's not big enough. If you make the gas tax too large, the tourists will just fill up at the edge. They still won't get the revenue.
That's true. So anyway, Steve wanted to talk about energy, and we're going to just roll you into the next segment, and Jane can just piggyback on with us. I forget what specifically we were going to talk about now. It sort of skipped my mind.
We'll probably narrow down in on electricity, but just from a big picture perspective, we got if you look what the Office of Energy Planning says, basically we divide the usage of energy in the state into three large components: transportation, getting around with our gasoline; heating our homes with oil or gas, however we heat our homes; and the third being electricity. We charge our cell phones or everything to keep the lights on.
Or your fun little cars. You can charge your little car, too.
Oh, don't forget about those electric cars, which are a big part of the 10-year vision.
You have an expert in energy here, by the way, sitting next to you.
So the good news is the situation with oil and gas has radically improved over the past, just even the 3 months. I mean, we've seen drops of 25-30% across the board in the cost of RBOB gas trading on the futures contracts or the crude oil.
Right, and now Saudi Arabia is so scared of the fracked oil situation that they're not going to lower production, and OPEC's like, damn.
No, that's actually a good thing for a couple of reasons.
Excellent, excellent.
One, our production is back as recently as 2012. They said the U.S. Oil production wouldn't reach Saudi capacity until 2020. Then a year later, in 2013, they narrowed it down to 2016. July 4th of this year, the U.S. EIA announced that we'd actually exceeded Saudi oil production, which is just an amazing accomplishment. But Texas and North Dakota are responsible for half of that production. That's truly remarkable. We've actually dropped our imports from 12.5 million barrels to 7.5 million barrels in just like the past 5 years.
Right?
So it's a daily,
and that's probably one of the reasons why the dollar is doing better. There are basically two reasons why the dollar's holding up, and it's not the Fed. The Fed is the wrong reason. The dollar is holding up because A, the other central banks are printing even worse than our Federal Reserve, and B, if we import less oil, we're sending less dollars overseas. Wonderful.
It is all good. And there are other geopolitical implications of oil going from 110 down to 80, which include Russia, Iran, and Venezuela, all of which are very dependent. I mean, I think it's put a real crimp in Putin's efforts over in the Ukraine.
Well, the
right
ruble's
now,
struggling big time, which is nothing new. But, I mean, since they so rely on oil and energy for their economy, just like Venezuela, it's if you get a chance to listen to the first segment, we talk about Carol Shea Porter's recently talking about why she opposes the Keystone XL pipeline, because the oil comes from Canada, which provides us with 30% of our imports.
It's a foreign country.
And it's a foreign country, Canada. It just happens to be a democracy that's not, they have speech rules and stuff, but as a general rule, they treat women pretty good. They're a lot better than, say, Venezuela or Russia or Saudi Arabia. And she opposes, Canadian oil. Oh, and the Koch brothers, who have no interest in that. But that was part of our energy discussion early on. And it's true, Canada is a great resource for oil, and we have our own. And I'm like, bring it. Bring it, because all that oil comes here, we refine it, and we will use it. It's all going to stay here. I mean, and if we end up with extra, and somebody says, we'll give you extra $10 a barrel. Whatever, they'll sell it.
But the Canadians have already said they have actually raised their middle finger to America about a week ago and
They're
said,
heading east.
We've had enough of you and your non-Keystone pipeline. We're piping the stuff to our damn refineries, and we'll sell you the finished product for a higher price.
That's fine. It's still going to be better than getting it from Saudi Arabia, and if we keep expanding, and that's just Texas and North Dakota.
Yeah,
we have tons of oil.
Oh, and that's also, by the way, of all of that increased oil production, 91% of it comes from private lands. Only 9% is opened up on federal lands, which is, again, part of the
giving the government the middle finger.
And it's also because the government keeps trying to grab another piece of land and putting it off limits, as Obama did again in between fundraisers only a few days ago.
So the good news for consumers is that we're probably looking at less than $3 gasoline and home heating oil, even through the winter period here, based on where oil and gasoline are currently trading.
Yeah, my propane went down. It was nice.
So the bad news side of the story is on that electricity side of the equation, and that's where we've got a real challenge. The challenge has already started. You've seen the PUC announce the rate hikes for both Liberty and Unitil in the 44-47% increase. There's, I think, one of the main utilities is going to see a 90 to 100% spike in electricity. The 2017-2018 winter, as being priced by ISO New England right now, is showing a $7 a kilowatt month payment for 24 gigawatts of existing capacity. But there is, because of demand, because of supply not meeting demand, there is someone else generating about 1.3 megawatts who's going to get $15 per kilowatt month. Don't know who the lucky recipient is just yet, but that's more than twice what they're currently paying. And again, take it back to baseline economic supply and demand. We've had the good fortune of having, and let me just back up one more step on electricity. You should understand that electricity is basically three different businesses since FERC deregulated electricity back in the 90s. FERC is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. They said we can be more efficient, plants will be more efficient, transmission will be more efficient if we deregulate the industry. So it's
which is crap.
So it's been deregulated. There are three components now. So you've got to have the generators who actually produce electricity. You've got to have the high-power transmission lines, and we don't need competing companies, more sets of high transmission power lines. So we created a monopoly, what they call a regional. Regional
RTOs, regional
RTOs,
transmission
regional
operators.
Transmission operators, which is this ISO New England. And then you have the distributors, outfits like Unitil, Liberty, PSNH. PSNH is a little bit of a hybrid because when the California energy price manipulation and debacle happened with the rolling blackouts and huge price cuts.
We're actually going to have to take this up in the next segment because we're running out of time. You're going to give your headset to somebody. We have tons of people here. We're actually shifting our entire show 15 minutes later all the way around. I'm Steve McDonald here with a whole room full of people, and we'll be right back after this.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen said, if you like your current health plan, you can keep it. That's not true, Senator. 22,000 New Hampshire citizens have been kicked off their insurance plans. Hospitals in Rochester, Concord, and Portsmouth, they aren't allowed to provide care under the exchange. Senator, you were wrong in your comments. You should apologize for your misleading remarks. I'm calling Senator Shaheen at 750-3004 and telling her I want my doctor back. You should too.
Paid for by saberpac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
We are struggling. Rising healthcare costs are part of the problem. Senator Jeanne Shaheen helped create this mess we're in. As a state senator, her bill chased 21 insurers out of our state. It reduced our choices, raised prices for New Hampshire families, and when Jeanne Shaheen supported Obamacare, it limited access to 10 of our 26 hospitals, reducing our choices again. Tell Jeanne Shaheen she's made healthcare worse. Few things are as important as finding the right doctor. And under Obamacare, that's harder than ever. Over a third of our hospitals no longer available. Our doctors no longer covered. Fewer choices, longer drives. No state has been harder hit than us. And even after watching it impact New Hampshire, Congresswoman Ann Custer still supports it. Call Ann Custer. Tell her Obamacare isn't working for New Hampshire.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.